Hey guys, Adam here, DirectionTrader.com. Let's do our recap from this morning and let's talk about what went on this morning in the trading room and what we see moving forward. I am sitting here in front of the computer still looking at trading opportunities, but the markets have really gone quiet. Even though we're looking at Russell right now, Russell's pushing higher quite nicely. The volume is just kind of gone. It's been a very slow grind this afternoon ever since we went to lunch. So at this point, I'm kind of just stepping back and doing some other work while the markets kind of do their own thing. So I figured I'd go ahead and make the daily video. This morning was a very active day in the trading room, believe it or not. We came in with a really good trading plan, even though we opened up somewhat in the midpoint of yesterday's range. What I mean by that is you have previous day's highs, previous day's lows. That's what my red and green lines here are. Previous day's low, previous day's highs, and we opened up somewhat here in the middle of that range, right in here. So we were originally trying to determine here on the stock index futures whether we were going to get a boost off the daily pivot point or we were going to start to drop. If we're going to drop, we're going to look to test the previous day's low, pop, test the previous day's highs. Our first reaction is always to fade the previous day's levels, and then if they break, to go with it. Pretty simple, right? Pretty self-explanatory. Let's go over to the Dow, because we actually took some Dow positions today, and let's talk about what we did. And then we'll talk about moving forward here. We took one rice crude trade and then a couple Dow trades this morning. What we did was we opened up and we saw that the markets were starting to trade to the upside. So as they started to trade to the upside, we started to look for some possible buying opportunities, right? Starting to see the market start to push higher. We're starting to look for some opportunities. And then sure enough, as we started to push higher here, the market got a little bit of momentum, and then whammy. You see here the difference between the Russell and the Dow is the Russell was trading down below the previous day's low. So what we're looking at is this area right here. This is the previous day's low, comes through just like that. As you see, we peeked our head up above here. That's what this high is. These circles are on the same. This is just a 15-minute. This is a 233. So as the market peeked its head up, it started to roll over. As it started to roll over, what did we want to do? We wanted to fade that previous day's low and look for the overall momentum of this market to go ahead and continue to push. We looked and we took one opportunity here for a nice little push to the downside, and then this second opportunity we got filled here. I think it was the 14s we got filled at, guys, if you want to go on your own chart. And then we ended up getting our +5 and bringing our stop down to that -5, and we got 12 ticks on this thing as it pushed down. But we were looking for a price down here at these 95s. We could not get the market to continue to push on down. We were just looking to retest them lows there from the previous day. Was not able to get any of that push down. So in this position, we ended up getting the market to push back up. We got a +5, -5 for a break even. So for you guys that like to manage out of your trades, that is an example of something we look for in the trading room. It's a nice way to eliminate your risk and get your emotions out of the trading. And then from there, the Dow and the S&P started to join the NASDAQ and the Russell in this fight back to the upside. We kind of had two different instruments going two different ways. We had the Russell and the NASDAQ holding kind of strong this morning, and then we had the S&P and the Dow kind of holding down, and we didn't know which two were going to pull the other two. Sure enough, the NASDAQ and the Russell pulled these other two instruments up, and now you see that the Dow here has actually pushed above the previous day's lows, and not just that, but pushed above its pivot now. So our next step is to go ahead and retest them previous day's highs, and that's where I kind of see this thing heading this afternoon. So that was what we're looking for on the Dow. Moving forward, what are we looking for? Well, I am simply looking for more follow-through here. If we blow up this 15-minute chart, you can see we've been in a nice push to the upside, guys. I'm not going to fight this. If the momentum continues to push higher, I'm going to look for upside opportunities. But going into tomorrow, I will continue to look for them possible pullbacks. We are extremely extended on a daily chart, so any type of pullback, if we happen to get below the daily pivot point, is a nice example If we can get down below them daily pivot points, that's a nice opportunity for us to look for shorts. Hence, look where we got our shorts today in the Dow, below the daily pivots, below the previous day's low. So any type of shorting, guys, I'm going to look to short going into the next couple days for day trading. If we can get up above the previous day's highs, you guys know how I feel about that. We will continue to trade higher. In an uptrend, if you're above the previous day's highs, go with it. Keep watching them previous day's highs when you're in an uptrend. But if you're not trading above the previous day's highs, you could be in one of these pullbacks, which is what we thought we were starting today. That's why we were looking for these downside opportunities. We thought we was in one of these pullbacks, simply in an uptrend, but sure enough, the bulls came in and drove this thing back to the upside, so we're not getting that pullback just yet. But going in tomorrow, if we get below the daily pivot, I will start to look for some downside opportunity in the stock index futures. Okay. Let's look at the crude real fast here, guys. Get a little long-winded talking about that. In crude here, we had a nice opportunity this morning. Let me let this data load here. For some reason, this chart's loading still. But anyways, we had a nice opportunity this morning here on the crude. Had a nice little pop to the upside above the pivot. Where do we want this thing to go? We simply just wanted this thing to push on higher. Pretty typical trading strategy for us. Let me go ahead and go back. That way I can actually show you what we did. Here's where we entered, guys. We opened up above the daily pivot, with momentum pushing to the upside. If we get above the daily pivot, momentum push to the upside, what are we looking for? Previous day's highs. Pretty easy setup for us, guys. We got the momentum pushing up. We've got to pull back here in the direction of the momentum. Got a nice long opportunity. Great trade here to the upside. Ended up chopping around before actually filling that final previous day's high, but nonetheless, we still had a great intraday opportunity here on the crude. So, moving forward, what do we see? Looks a lot like the indexes, but the opposite. We've been in a nice down push here on the daily charts. This is the 15-minute chart, but kind of like the indexes. The indexes have pushed higher and they've been chopping like this. The crude has dropped and now is chopping like this. So at this point, I am looking for one of them pullbacks, kind of like I'm looking for a pullback on the indexes. I'm looking for this pullback on crude, hence my long trade today in crude. But if that doesn't happen and we actually drop down below the previous day's lows, you cannot fight against a trend, so I will look to go with it. So today you're seeing we're having a very tight range. You see yesterday's range is way out here. Today's range is about half of that. So we're getting a very tight range today. If we break below today's lows tomorrow, I'll go with it to the short side. If we are able to get some higher highs and higher lows on a 5 and 15-minute chart, I will look for one of them little pullback opportunities maybe for the next couple days here in crude. Got a little long-winded here today, guys. Hope you enjoyed the video. If you have any questions, feel free to email me, adam@directiontrader.com. I'll get back to you as soon as I can. But thanks for watching these videos, guys, and I'll see you in tomorrow's recap. Have a good afternoon.